Hey everybody, and Tony here with a review of Wagner's Mmerung, live from the Wiener Staatsoper, which I saw on YouTube thanks to my very awesome friend Dylan Haynes, aka Coloratura Fan, aka Logan D. The conductor was Adam Fischer, the production was done by Sven Erik Bechtolf, the set designs were done by Rolf Glittenberg, the costumes were done by Marianne Glittenberg, and the videographers were Momme Hinrichs and Torge Müller. We have a cast full of star-studded international singers headed by Christian Franz as Siegfried, Linda Watson as Brunhilde, and of course, the veteran basso profondo Eric Halfvarson as Hagen. So how did these guys do? I'll talk about them when I get to the singers. But first, the production and the costumes. As to be expected, the production is quite dark, but it's so dramatically lit that it's just so well done in its own special way. It has a lot of these really nice props used, like trees, and a lot of really interesting and very intricate set designs as well. But I have to say that the one that really grabs me is definitely the Norn scene, where the darkness is definitely put to such a great advantage, helped by a very nice blue light headed by the Norns, dressed all in black with their white hair all neatly done in braids, which I thought was so well done. And you could really see them on the trees as if though that they're basically the ones which guard fate and how everything goes in the world. And I also love the fact that we even get to see the Rhine maidens on these boats as if though that they're basically wishing all the travelers well. And I thought it was really interesting. The immolation scene was quite well done in its own special way. Like we have Grane being in the form of like the Trojan horse, and we see the characters plummeting down, and everything is just so well done in terms of the visuals. We have the visuals of fire and being quenched by the water of the Rhine, and it's just so awesomely done. And after that, we see a man and a woman just basically looking forward to the future. Despite the overall darkness in this production, it's very well done, using such great colors and great visuals to really back it up. And the costumes were absolutely gorgeous in their own special ways. Aside from the Norns looking very gorgeous in their own special ways with their black dresses and their white hair in a nicely done braid, other costumes that I really love were Gudrune's regal, gorgeous costume, which just looked absolutely fabulous on her, Gunther's military costume, and what's so interesting about Waltraute's costume is that instead of coming in her usual Valkyrie attire, she comes in dressed in black to state that this is basically the end of Valhalla if Brunhilde does not give up that ring. And speaking of Siegfried and Brunhilde, the one thing that also strikes me is that we also get to see Siegfried and Brunhilde basically lighting up these two golden bulls to state their ever undying faithfulness to each other, and to also state that there's also a little bit of foreshadowing as to what is going to happen. With the gold being returned to the river by the Rhine maidens, and also fire, which is going to be used in the immolation scene where Siegfried will have his funeral pyre, with Brunhilde jumping after him with Grane. So overall, the costumes and the production were absolutely interesting in their own special way. And now let's get to the singers, starting off with Christian Franz as Siegfried. Even though I may not be a huge fan of his voice, he still has very fine musicianship. And even though he didn't really prolong that high C, I have to really give him a good amount of credit for his overall musicianship and for continuing to use Siegfried's innocence and playfulness really, really well. And going to Linda Watson as Brunhilde, I thought that this was definitely one of her finest moments ever. She really gave it her all in this role, as to be expected for someone who is a total veteran singing Brunhilde throughout the world, and she definitely knew how to really get herself into this character very well, and her immolation scene was so well done. Johann Schmeckenbecher's Alberich, as to be expected, was wonderfully sung, and he had a very fine and very menacing stage presence to really back this character up. And now we go to Erik Halfvarson as Hagen. I have seen this gentleman perform the role of Hagen on DVD from the Bayreuther Festspielhaus's production back in 1997 when he did this role with Deborah Pulaski as the Brunhilde, Wolfgang Schmidt as the Siegfried, Falk Struckmann as Gunther, Anne Schwannewilms as Gutrune, and Ekkehard Vlasiha as Alberich. And what more can I expect from a gentleman like him? He is a very fine and commanding stage actor, which should be no surprise as he seems to specialize in a lot of these nasty basso roles like Sparafucile, the Grand Inquisitor, Hagen, Hunding, Fafner, Faselt, and just a lot of villainous roles in general. Oh, lest I forget about his embodiment of Claggart from Billy Budd. He was definitely very well known in that role. And Hagen is very much his signature role, which he has been singing in a lot of opera houses around the world, mostly in Europe, Asia, and the Americas. And he continues to do a very fine job acting-wise, really making Hagen a very menacing yet very multidimensional character, and his singing was very well done, even though he is past his prime given the fact that he has been singing this role for many years, and the fact that he's also in his mid-60s. I still have to give him loads of credit for continuing to embody this role with passion and a lot of menace to really back it up. And he did very wonderfully with his war cry, gathering his troops and being like a conductor to them, as if though that he is conducting his own army and basically making sure that his vassals really sing to the best of their abilities. And I thought he did very fabulously, really giving such a fine and handsome stage presence, and really singing very, very well, despite his voice being past its prime. And we go to Gunther, sung by Boaz Daniel, who gives a lot of dignity and a lot of smooth and fine singing to this otherwise thankless character. And he gave a lot of nobility to this otherwise thankless character. Regine Hangler as Gutrune, oh my god, was she absolutely fabulous. And I thought that she was definitely one of the stars of this Götterdämmerung. First off, she has a very gorgeous voice, which is very well focused, lyrical, and has that great amount of musicianship, which she has been very well known for. I have seen this singer mainly advertised in a lot of concerts, and I didn't know what took me so long to really see this singer because I also had a lot of personal obligations. But thank God I managed to hear her voice, and it's just so awesome in terms of its musicality. Every time she opens her mouth, it's like a string of pearls, diamonds, gold, silver, rubies, and a lot of other precious minerals and jewels just pour out of her mouth. She has superb musicianship, and she's also a very good actress. But her major asset is definitely her well-tuned, gorgeous, scintillating, and heavenly voice, which she manages to do wonderfully in terms of her overall musicianship. Anna Larsson as Waltraute was gorgeously sung and well acted. When she appeared on stage, you could definitely see the uncertainty she has in her eyes and her movements, as if to say, okay, what is all this my sister is showing me? Like, she's telling me that she is now engaged to Siegfried, they're gonna go have a fling together, until she needs to come to that moment where she needs to tell her sister that Valhalla is about to be in so much deep crap, until she manages to take away that ring from her finger. And I thought that Anna Larsson really sang her heart out as Valtraute, making her a very dignified and very gorgeous character, which is no surprise because she's also been singing this role in a lot of theaters and has a lot of great success with this particular role. Monica Bohinetz's contralto voice combined with Ulrika Heltzer's high dramatic mezzo voice and Ildiko Raimondi's creamier, richer, full lyric soprano voice are definitely a great blend as the Norns. These three wonderful women did very wonderfully, giving off such gorgeous musicality and a very fine and commanding stage presence. Andrea Carroll's Voglinde, Rachel Frankel's Velgunda, and Juliette Mars's Frosthilde were absolutely gorgeously sung. Their voices blended superbly and scintillatingly in such a very refined manner. So overall, the singing was totally well done. The standouts among the cast of female singers really have to be Regine Hangler's and Anna Larsson's superbly sung Gutrune and Valtraute, and among the men's, we have Erik Halfvarson's really awesome Hagen, in which, despite his voice being past its prime, managed to really continue to give such a fine portrayal of this villain. And the conducting done by Adam Fischer was extremely well done. So overall, this was definitely one grand production, complete with really wonderful singers, and complete with a very wonderful orchestra and chorus headed by Adam Fischer. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to tune in later where I review Birdemic in courtesy of Tony Watley II's, aka the Black Critic Guy's Puke Cinema. So I'll be basically reviewing that really interesting piece of cinema. And until then, have a great day, everybody.